All right, welcome back. Time to bring in our panel right now. Joining us this week here in studio, we have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, and for the Republicans, former state lawmaker Mike Murphy, along with Purdue professor Martin Sweet and UIndy professor Laura Wilson. Laura, I'll start with you here. It certainly felt like no coincidence that all 7 Indiana members of Congress from the Republican Party sent out statements all in the same day, one after the other, supporting redistricting on Monday. What are you watching for here on this issue of redistricting as some of our state lawmakers go to the White House for a meeting on Tuesday on a range of topics? Surely this will be one of them.
It has to come up, right? I don't think it's surprising at all that they agree with this. The Republican delegation from Indiana would benefit, and even not directly for their own districts, they would be reelected handedly, but really in terms of that balance of power for Republicans.
But some of them could get more purple.
It could get a little. It could get a little closer.
Right?
I mean, they're usually winning by 20%. So if it's 15%, I'm not really biting my nails on that. I think the real issue is going to be looking at California and then the California voters. Gavin Newsom, Senate proposal, got the support of the California legislature, and then the Democrats came back to Texas, and Governor Greg Abbott has really been pushing that. So honestly, it's the nationwide issue and the pressure that comes to Indiana. The real pin in this is going to be Governor Mike Braun for Indiana, and then if he calls a special session, the Indiana General Assembly.
Yeah, Martin, what do you make of all of this pressure and what we saw both in Texas and California, as Laura referenced, with Texas lawmakers finally returning? They advanced their new maps. Now we could see California kind of counteract what's happening in Texas. What do you make of the overall national dynamic at play here with this?
Right. Well, politics is often about anticipated reactions, right? And so the movement that we've seen in Texas, which sort of precipitated what's going on in California, it's not going to end there. Missouri, Florida, those are good possibilities for Republicans. The challenge that I don't think people are really thinking through is sort of what you're alluding to here, though, is if you have districts that are 90-10 Democratic, like not quite what we have in with Carson's district.
Like 60-40 or maybe more.
You get more extreme members, right? But when you have 50-50 districts or 52-48, which might lean one part or the other, in a wave election, those can actually flip, and you tend to get more moderate folks there too. So just because the numbers are such of 8-1, 7-2, whatever they are, that doesn't necessarily mean it's more extreme. Right? In fact, sometimes having a larger balance of one party than the other gives you more moderate members.
We'll see what happens. Robin, your response to that, and what do you want to see your party do next year?
Hold on to 2 seats. That's our first thing that we have to do. You know, look, this is all the impetus for this is the big, bad bill. These guys don't even want it to go into effect until after the election. And they know that they run the risk of losing Congress when people realize all the components of it. So my biggest concern, Dan, is we're going to spend $250,000 at a time that we're cutting state budgets by 5%. There's got to be a better way to use our resources here.
Mike, what are you hearing in terms of our state lawmakers and where they are on this heading into Tuesday's meeting at the White House?
Well, I think it's very mixed. I don't think Todd Huston, the speaker, is pushing hard at all. I think he's letting them think it through, and so which is good. He's a good leader. But you know, in the end, there's 2 different sets of motivation for getting elected. The Congress delegation has to please Trump or they get primaried and they lose, right? So they've got to go with him. The House and Senate in Indiana, you get elected more on local issues, and did you show up for the fish fry? Did you come to my, you know, Little League championship kind of thing? And so they're much better known. People don't know their congressmen.
See how that plays out at the meeting there next week. Let's talk about the big meeting at the White House this past week. President Trump meeting with President Zelensky about the war in Ukraine just days after he met with President Putin in Alaska. We asked Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, a native of Ukraine, about the situation this week.
A lot of people are dying. It's not very easy to get them to the table. One thing you know about President Trump, he's a tough cookie. Putin knows that, and he understands that he means business.
But Laura, there are very differing views out there. Some of the president's critics don't believe he is effectively standing up to Putin here, who continues to launch attacks in Ukraine, while others, like Indiana Congressman Marlin Stutzman, took the opportunity this week to nominate the president for a Nobel Peace Prize as we wait to see how all of this plays out.
Yeah, and in that actual application for the Nobel Peace Prize, it didn't emphasize the issues in terms of Gaza and Israel. It didn't talk as much about Ukraine and Russia. It was really focused on other things that the president had done. But I think when you're talking about Ukraine and Russia in particular, the real question is the land concession. Do you give Putin the land in terms of Crimea and the Donbas, or do you keep fighting the war on the basis of that, the argument belonging to Ukraine? I feel like that's going to be one of those principled issues that people are going to have a really hard time coming to the table and truly finding compromise on.
Martin, what were your thoughts on the events of this past week on the world stage?
Well, I had this college professor many years ago now. He used to say, listen, everybody's pro-peace, but how do you get there, right? And that's really the difficulty here. The challenge is you don't make peace with pleasant people, right? You have to make peace with your enemies. And so the challenge, and people sometimes don't want us to sit down with Putin to have these conversations, somehow this stuff has to stop. And so I think that's the challenge for all of us, is to realize, sometimes you're going to have to meet with some not so great people in order to get where you want to go.
Robin, the president certainly made a lot of headlines this week, from the Ukraine peace talks to his reaction to this John Bolton raid, his controversial comments about slavery and how that's highlighted the Smithsonian. What are your thoughts on the news of this week, globally and here at home?
Well, first off, the Russians are still pounding Ukraine every night. So I don't know how anybody could consider that we're at peace and we're moving to that. I admire him for trying to bring people together. If he does a trilateral meeting, that will be even better. As it relates to our domestic agenda, we've got people that are going to be facing Medicaid cuts. We're going to cities that are facing cuts all over the place. We have people that are dealing with tariffs, rising costs. Your station did the thing about restaurant costs going through the ceiling. We're beginning to see the impact of his economic policy.
Mike, 10 seconds here before we got to go to wrap this up.
Well, it's a mixed bag. Kyiv used to be the capital of Russia many, many years ago. But at the same time, both Quisling and Chamberlain thought they made peace with the Germans, and where'd that get them?
All right, we've got to leave it there. Coming up next, state lawmakers are discussing the important topic of medical debt. We'll tell you how that discussion could impact you and your family straight ahead.